You got to give him credit for his effort. He's
trying, for sure.
And he has brokered peace deals around the world more than any president.
What happens if Venezuela flies jets over U.S. naval vessels again?
Well, I would say they're going to be in trouble. We'll let them know about that. We heard that happen, but it wasn't really over, not like they described. But I would say, General, if they do that, you have a choice of doing anything you want, okay? If they fly in a dangerous position, I would say that you can, you or your captains can make the decision as to what they want to do, all right?
Sure.
Sir, how close did they get?
We have one
president. You said they didn't go over.
Say it?
How close did they get? You said the planes did not.
Well, I don't want to talk about that, but if they do put us in a dangerous position, they'll be shut down.
Now, President Trump claims he's all about, quote, ending wars, and as a result, he wants his name thrown into the hat for a Nobel Peace Prize. Yet mere days after promising peace, he quietly launched a military strike on a Venezuelan drug boat, with the sycophants shouting "Hoorah!" around the country at an execution free from due process, setting a pretty scary standard. And he doubled down by sending warships and 4,000 troops to the Caribbean. So it turns out his version of peace looks a lot like an expansion of conflict. Who would have thought?
Mr. Secretary, what legal authority did the Pentagon invoke to strike that boat full of drug smugglers?
We have the absolute and complete authority to conduct that. First of all, just the defense of the American people alone. 100,000 Americans were killed each year under the previous administration because of an open border and open drug traffic flow.
Was there
that is an assault on the American people. I said we smoked a drug boat, and there's 11 narco-terrorists at the bottom of the ocean, and when other people try to do that, they're going to meet the same fate.
The fact that U.S. officials describe the individuals killed by the U.S. strike as narco-terrorists does not transform them into lawful military targets. The U.S. is not engaged in an armed conflict with Venezuela or Trinidad. The strike runs afoul to the right to life under international human rights law. So the president basically said that these guys are terrorists. You can kill terrorists. You can't, I guess, kill drug dealers just for dealing drugs, right?
Well, this is, brings up a question. So, we assume these people were bad people and drug dealers, but if they were caught off the coast of Miami, we would stop the boat. If they don't shoot at us, we don't shoot at them. They're confiscated, they're put in jail, and then they go through a trial to prove what they were doing. And if they have 20 pounds of cocaine or heroin or something on the boat, they'll be convicted. The reason we have trials, though, and we don't automatically assume guilt is, what if we make a mistake and they happen to be people fleeing Venezuela, the Venezuelan dictator? I think probably that, we had the facts correct. We got bad people here. But that's the reason, like, off our coast, it isn't our policy just to blow people up. We don't blow up ships entering our waters unless they're, hell-bent on attacking another ship or unless they are resisting with gunfire. Right. We arrest people.
On September 2nd, U.S. military forces sunk a Venezuelan speedboat allegedly tied to a drug gang, killing 11 people in the process. Now, Trump quickly hailed the strike on Truth Social as a statement against drug trafficking, calling the crew, quote, narco-terrorists. Just one day later, the Pentagon signaled that more operations are on the way, endorsing the use of force against cartels as a core part of Trump's strategy.
When I see boats coming in, like loaded up the other day with all sorts of drugs, probably fentanyl mostly, but all sorts of drugs, and we're going to take them out. And if people want to have fun going on the high seas or the low seas, they're going to be in trouble. I will tell you, boat traffic is substantially down in the area that happened. They called it the runway. It's a runway to the United States. And boat traffic is very substantially down on the runway. You can imagine why. I think anybody that saw that is going to say, I'll take a pass. I don't even know about fishermen. They may say, I'm not getting on the boat. I'm not going to take a chance.
Now, here's a map of where the United States is. That small boat was attacked off the coast of Venezuela, which is over 1,000 nautical miles away from here. The United States was obviously well out of range of that boat. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, on the other hand, defended the strike by saying the vessel's destination was probably Trinidad or another country in the Caribbean, which, of course, makes more sense on the map. I mean, Trinidad's only 10 miles from Venezuela by sea. But again, that too is more than 1,000 miles from the U.S. mainland. Who knows where the drugs, if they were there, were going to go next? This morning, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth was doing a victory lap, promising more military strikes on narco traffickers, narco terrorists. But now, as we learn more details of the attack, have to say, this is an enormous scandal that is unfolding right in front of us. This civilian, non-military boat, even if they were committing a crime, was not struck in self-defense. No weapons were evident. Whoever struck it, and the U.S. has shared no details of that, didn't try to disable the engines or to board the craft. They just summarily killed everybody on board. As a Notre Dame law professor told the Washington Post, the strike violated international law. The U.S. is not in armed conflict with Venezuela or its criminal elements. This is exactly the kind of operation that, if it existed in a Tom Clancy novel or movie, would be getting covered up because all the principals in the film would know it was illegal. I mean, it certainly seems like extrajudicial murder to me. And again, that's the case even if everything the administration is saying is true. But why would anyone assume that what they say is true? These are the very same people that falsely claimed a man with an autism awareness tattoo and a makeup stylist and a soccer player and a singer were dangerous members of the same Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang when they grabbed them off the street and shipped them to the Salvadoran gulag. Now, in those cases, Trump's government tried to be the judge and the jury, and now they are executioner too. Whatever pretext this administration may claim, this looks, for all the world, like a just flagrant violation of domestic U.S. law and international law.
Now, it's important to note that this strike didn't happen in a vacuum, right? Weeks earlier, Trump dispatched 3 destroyers and about 4,000 sailors and Marines to Venezuelan waters, framed as counter-narcotics missions, but widely reported as, quote, gunboat diplomacy. Now, I think there are a few Americans who oppose to further crackdowns on the importing of illegal drugs, right? But for a man who boasts about being the president of peace, the execution-like tactics don't exactly align, do they? As American human rights lawyer Kenneth Roth penned in The Guardian, quote, the U.S. military's killing of 11 alleged Venezuelan drug traffickers traveling by boat in international waters is an illegal use of war powers to address what should have been a situation of law enforcement. Unless this dangerous precedent is condemned and curtailed, it will enable U.S. authorities to summarily shoot anyone they choose by simply declaring a war against them. And he's not the only one. Countless legal experts and global observers are raising serious concerns about the extrajudicial killing, presidential overreach, and the erosion of international norms. But meanwhile, back in the United States, Trump isn't exactly de-escalating issues either. He's doubling down domestically too, eyeing military deployments in cities like Chicago, New York, and Baltimore under the banner of law and order.
We have reason to believe that Stephen Miller chose the month of September to come to Chicago because of celebrations around Mexican Independence Day that happen here every year. It breaks my heart to report that we have been told ICE will try and disrupt community picnics and peaceful parades. Let's be clear, the terror and cruelty is the point, not the safety of anyone living here.
The city of Chicago has had a chance to vote for Donald Trump 3 times, and he lost by 80% each of the 3 times that he was on the ballot. I think if Donald Trump wants to get involved heavily in issues somewhere else, he should go look at red states, because Donald Trump doesn't have any urgency to deal with Louisiana, which is the murder capital of the United States. He doesn't have anything to say about Oklahoma, which has the worst schools in the nation. Doesn't have anything to say about Arkansas,
Mike,
which has the highest teen pregnancy rate.
Those are crime-ridden too. Those are crime-ridden too. And if the mayor
when's
wants
Donald
to
Trump going
invite
to do
Donald
something
Trump
about the
to
crime
go in
rid
there
that's
and do
happening
it,
in Republican
Chicago's
states?
a little bigger than Baton Rouge, Mike. Okay, and you live in Chicago, and you should care.
I do.
Did you hear my friend out there in the monologue talking about her cousin, her uncle, her niece? They're all dead, Mike. Do you care about that at all? Your mayor doesn't care. Your mayor doesn't want any backup. They're offering him more cops, more guard, and he says, no, more housing. What the hell's wrong with him?
Hey, listen, I care about the crime that happens in Chicago, but I also care about making sure that people feel safe. And I know that I'm not going to feel safe in my city if when I take my son to school, I have to drive by a tank. I know I'm not going to feel safe if when I take him to a ball game, I'm going to see armed military members.
So remember, when Trump says he's ending wars, it's just a version of peace that starts with a missile and ships on the horizon. From Washington to Caracas, the message is clear. This isn't over. It's just evolving on a much bigger stage. So yeah, keep vying for that Nobel Peace Prize, Donnie. I don't think it's coming anytime soon.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.